like anything that you do, like you need to trust your master to an extent that you're like, yeah, I'm here to relearn and not get your insight into it.
Correct.
First, give that master or that art some time. Let it make sense to you. If it's not making sense to you in the beginning, eventually it will.
No rain.
Communicators, welcome to the Naren Agarwal show. Today we have a very special guest. This guest is an artist, but an artist not of the general kind you think, not the kind who uses a paint and a brush, but an artist who uses his body and helps other people use their body better. Yes, this guy is a martial artist, at the same time is a movement artist. Known as the Li Shaolong or the Little Dragon by his master in the Shaolin Temple of China, he is truly fascinating to hear when it comes to body, fitness, health, and also communication. So let's welcome the Little Dragon, Mr. Karan Bagri, to our show. Yo, Karan, how are you doing? Please walk in to the show. We're looking forward to have a conversation with you.
Alright, nice to meet you, my man.
Karan, nice to meet you. Please welcome in, brother.
This is a comfortable setup, I like it.
I'm glad you're comfortable.
Absolutely,
And,
let's do this.
I'm excited about our conversation because health and fitness is something I've been concentrating on since especially the past year. And I've gotten great pointers from you, especially having that good friendship and relationship with you. So I've told them about what you do and what you're known as, but we're going to dig deeper into health, fitness, martial arts, and also how this all in some way relates to communication.
Absolutely.
There we go. So, my first question would be that you have practiced Taekwondo, right?
Yeah.
That's been your background.
Yeah, Taekwondo is my base.
Gotcha.
That was the first martial arts that I started learning.
Learning. And you're a fourth Dan in Taekwondo.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
It's been like a long journey, to be honest. I mean, I started when I was in second standard and I went for my first nationals in third. But
in third standard you went for your first nationals?
Yeah.
Wow.
But then more than, like first Dan, second Dan, third Dan, it's that one tag, black belt. Like that is what I dig. Like that is the most important thing, like because what is black belt? Black belt is basically a white belt who worked his ass off to reach that black belt, right? So after that, it's all like you're just in different levels. But then that, like, look at this. I'm getting goosebumps when I'm talking about it. Like, but black belt is, black belt is the thing. Wow. So, I mean, when I got my black belt, I think I gave my black belt test in class 6, and I think I became...
How old were you then? Maybe around 12?
Yeah, 12, 13, yeah, something like that. And I became the youngest international instructor at the age of 19. I was a 4th Dan and a national umpire. But
so 4th Dan is after you get the black belt, you go through a few more levels. 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so basically after you get the black belt, right? So there's a year gap. So after 1 year, you give your first Dan, where there are set of patterns or tools or katas, however you want to put it. You have to do those, then couple of breaking techniques, couple of kicks, couple of endurance tests. After that, you get the first Dan, and then there's like 2 years gap to the second, and then 3 to the third, depending on the number of belts that you want. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, till the first Dan, I didn't quite know what the true meaning of a belt is because I was too young, and I'm not gonna lie about that. Like for me, it was not even like I never segregated it as, oh, this is first Dan, oh, this is second Dan, because for me it was like, it's a black belt.
A black belt, yes.
It's a black belt.
That's what
like,
you want.
That's just it, And like, it feels amazing. Like with every degree, you get to put that yellow stripe on your belt. But like the true importance and everything, I figured it out only when I became like second Dan. Like then you feel that, okay, the sense of responsibility that now I want to train others, or now I want to do something else for the society. Or maybe something as simple as just improve my self-discipline, because I think that is where we lack. Like we lack being disciplined in our life. I mean, so yeah, that was my phase with Taekwondo. And
so it's very interesting. So far, whenever we spoke about martial arts,
yeah,
you're there is an aspect of fitness to it.
Absolutely.
You've been talking about self-discipline,
Yeah.
about helping others. That aspect is very related to any martial art. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's most of the kids, or most, I mean, I myself, I was actually growing up as a kid, I was inspired by Kungfu movies.
Okay.
Because that was like a thing to
Kung Fu
watch,
Panda,
Yeah.
or,
Like all like
Karate
Enter the
Kid,
Dragon and
correct.
all of those movies, like back in the days, Jackie Chan movies and all of that, like, because it was so intriguing that, wow, this guy is so cool. But then what we fail to understand is that there's courtesy, perseverance, indomitable spirit, and like stillness and patience. There's so much of things. Like, it's not like, okay, you have to do roundhouse kick, so you just do it. Like, the problem is that it's not a problem, it's a thing. Like, we have brain, but then we do not think, why am I doing this? Like, what's the philosophy behind it? Like, if you're doing a roundhouse, then how can you generate more power into it?
Correct.
Or how much do you need to twist more to get that balance? Because then again, you're on one leg when you're kicking, right? So I think if we move more with our brain, it would be more important. Like, it would give you better results. Like, because I'm saying that now because I figured it out pretty late in my life, because I was also like someone with the blinders on, and like, yeah, this is it.
So what does somebody with the blinders on do when it comes to body and fitness?
So basically, I feel it's like we trust our trainers and masters. It's not a wrong thing. It's a good thing that you trust. But then we forget to ask ourselves about it. Like, okay, my master has told me, or my trainer or coach has told me to do this, but why not dig into it? Like, the internet is open.
Research.
Yeah. Like, how will this add to this? Is it gonna add any utility to it? If it's not, then why am I doing this? And if I'm not doing it, then maybe I should put it in a very humble manner in front of my master, so that I can make sense to him as well. Because like, it's so simple. Like, from school or anything, like, your teacher has told you something and you're just doing it. Like, you have a brain, like, do it.
The self-application.
Absolutely, do it. But then have that question thing, like, okay, if I have to walk this much, I'm gonna reach from point A to B. But then why not look around? You get what I mean?
Correct.
So that is where I feel like we all need to work on. And yeah, like, once you start, I think it's more of the word awareness. That is the word. I think awareness is the thing. People lack awareness, and we are just like, oh, okay, I have to do this. But then, like, why? How else can you do it?
Wow.
So,
Here's a question. You're somebody who's been exposed to like very Eastern styles of martial art,
Yeah.
fitness, but at the same time, you're somebody who's also explored the Western style.
Yeah.
If I differentiate in
Yeah.
a big way, what are some commonalities? Do they communicate with each other, and what are some big differences? And what style do you prefer?
Okay, so like Taekwondo. Taekwondo is a Korean martial arts,
Correct.
and Taekwondo, mainly it's more about kicking. Like, Taekwondo is all about speed and accuracy and kicking, and like a lot of kicking. And pretty late in the Taekwondo culture, they started using the upper body, as in the punches as well. So like, as much as a guy who has done Taekwondo straight up for like 8 to 10 years with only kicks, all of a sudden when you add those punches to it, it's so difficult for him to get adapted to that.
Correct.
But my experience with Muay Thai and Kung Fu and Wushu, which is like my current expertise, they have the balance of both. So that is one part where it differentiates.
The balance of the upper body and the lower
exactly.
body. And do you think that's very important for you?
It is. I mean, think about it logically. Like, your upper body is supporting you to do all the movements for the kick, but then your arms aren't active. Because in Taekwondo, you always have your guards on, right? And
correct.
pretty late in the whole Taekwondo culture, they started using like, use your punches as well. Earlier, it was like, keep the guards on, no face punch allowed. And then it was like, touch back. And then it was like, no, again, no. Because everyone has their own philosophy, right? But I feel in Kung Fu and the other aspects, the other martial arts that I've learned, it is so important, because how do you move without your hand? Like, it's simple.
So you've also been a student of the Shaolin Temple in
Yeah.
China. Like, this is the real deal. The Shaolin
Yeah.
Temple.
Yeah.
It's no shack side Shaolin class, but you went to China, you immersed yourself. Tell us about the experience you had, firstly being in China, firstly being in an environment where there's a whole culture of martial art. It's not like you go to a class, you come back home, you're doing the daily activities that you would typically do. How was that different? What did it instill in you?
So I personally feel not just in martial arts, like in any field, if you're learning something, learn from the origin. Because that knowledge is never broken. Because I feel if I learn it from someone else, if he has learned from the origin, he can only grasp 50% of what he has learned.
Correct.
And he can deliver 25.
Correct.
And I will grasp only 5% out of it. So it didn't make enough sense to me. That's why
Especially
I prefer.
with such a deep science.
Exactly. Because more than martial arts, like when I realized that, okay, like there's more to martial arts, like understanding the system, understanding how your body connects with it. Like that is where the whole aspect of Tai Chi comes in. Like movement with meditation, like that's slow martial arts. So Shaolin Temple was fantastic, is fantastic. I mean, like whatever I am today, it's because of I would say I'm very happy that Taekwondo was my base. But then if I didn't have Taekwondo as my base, I would struggle a lot over there because the life over there is not easy.
Why? What's tough about it? Let's get into the daily schedule over there.
So I would wake up at 5 every morning.
5 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, and I would have exactly 10 to 15 minutes to get ready, freshen up, and then we would have our first session, which is like 6 to 7, which was more of Tai Chi and the basic like slow martial arts, Tai Chi and Qigong. And after that, we would head for breakfast. So after 6 to 7, 7:30, 7:45, we would be done with our breakfast. Next session would be 9 o'clock. So 9 to 12 would be again training, depending on which day it is. So say Sanda. Sanda is Chinese martial arts, Chinese boxing. So either Sanda or acrobatics or the basics of Kungfu or, the weaponry. Depending on...
Weaponry.
Yeah. Like staff, sword and halberd and all of that. Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's so crazy. It's so intriguing,
Have you had injuries? Have you seen people get...
Oh yeah, I have scars all over my body. Like when you're using a sword, you cut yourself again and again.
It's a real deal, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Do you sign a contract or a
Oh no. It's China. all that doesn't work over there. I mean, it's
on you. I mean, you're at the temple.
The thing is, it's so crazy. Like you do not even feel that cut because there are 6,000 other students who are doing the same thing, and they are not cribbing about it. So like when you're in an environment where I probably felt like I was the shittiest mover over there. I was like, all that I've learned, I was like, this is not an easy life, and that's the whole point. Like we need to make discomfort as our friend.
Discomfort becomes your friend.
Absolutely, because I feel like in a place like you're
What's very intriguing, just 1 second, is what you said, that no one's cribbing about it.
Yeah.
So no one's cribbing about it. That communicates to you that, hey, it's okay, I can bear this too.
Absolutely.
And that's the culture. That forms the culture.
Absolutely.
Wow. But continue, you were...
So
discomfort becomes your comfort.
So I just feel like that we get so comfortable in our skin that we are so scared to go out of our comfort zone and get that fail, like the taste of failure,
Correct.
And I loved it, and I think I developed it over there at the Shaolin Temple because I would fail every day and I would fail miserably. I would hurt my ankles and break some bones here and there, and it was hectic. But then that is where the whole, like you're understanding the art, you're communicating with it, like
Correct.
Trying to get that whole, okay, I have to slow down right now. Now I have to do fast movements, so in a way, yes, you are communicating with martial arts, and I think that was something that I was looking for. That is the philosophy for me, because if it's not making sense to me, then there is something that's wrong.
Correct. So like until 12, you did weaponry where you got a lot of hurt and all this happened, and then after 12 o'clock, what was your schedule?
So after 12, we had a break. It would be lunch break, which was like for 3 hours, where you eat, you rest, you recover. And after that, again, we would start training roughly around 3:30. So 3:30 to 6:30 we would train, and then we had our dinner. 7 o'clock the school was done with dinner, and after that you just rest, recover. If you want to do some basic movements, the room is open for you. You can keep training. I mean, it's, think about it like this, like in our normal, like the sedentary lifestyle that we follow, right? It's like 10 to 6 you're working. So
Correct.
for me, it was like 10 to 6 I'm doing martial arts, you know, something that I love.
Morning 6
And
to 7, and
yeah.
then about 3 hours, solid 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's like 7 hours of scheduled
Yeah,
training.
absolutely, absolutely.
On top of that, you're doing a bunch of other stuff on
Yeah.
your own with your
Yeah.
friends, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, because I feel like when you're going so far, you know, like the thing is, like, I went with the mentality that I am not a teacher in India. I am going to relearn,
This
you know.
is amazing. Wait, so you were already a trainer, and then you said you want to
Yeah.
go and become a student
Absolutely,
again
absolutely,
at the Shaolin Temple,
absolutely,
and then just go with a blank slate.
absolutely. Because in places like these, when you're going to a place which is like completely new, you do not even know, like a place that doesn't even speak English, you know. So there's like so much to battle with, so much going on in your head because it's so difficult over there, you know. Like now that I've
For a
been to-
non-Chinese speaker,
exactly. So I just feel like when you're going, not just China, like anything that you do, like you need to trust your master to an extent that you're like, yeah, I'm here to relearn and not get your insight into it.
Correct.
First, give that master or that art some time. Let it make sense to you. If it's not making sense to you in the beginning, eventually it will, because the master or the teacher or anyone for that matter has given enough time into that art. So
Wow.
that was
so
that.
It's very intriguing. So basically, you're saying your philosophy is
Yeah.
that you go into learning something as a student.
Mm-hmm.
Once you absorb enough of it, then you make sense of it and connect dots with the stuff you know.
Absolutely.
But in the
Absolutely.
beginning, if you're just too resistant, nothing will
Nothing
go in.
is going to go in. Like that is what happened. Like initially my plan was to be there for 3 months, and then after 3 months I was like, no, this is all making sense to me, like this is it. And then I extended it for another 3 months straight,
Wow.
and I was there. And then I trained over there for 6 months, and then I was here, I was back to India training and helping people. And then again I was like, let's go, and let's go for another leg.
Wow.
Let's get it. So I figured like this is it, like this is who I am, and this is what I want. This makes sense to me because it's
Especially
so
being in
whole.
that culture, immersing yourself.
Exactly.
That's why they say it's like really important how you want to think, how you want to feel. You gotta immerse yourself with people around.
Absolutely.
The surrounding
It's-
makes such a big impact on us.
It is.
Slowly,
It is. It is.
eventually.
Like it's all about the surrounding. If your surrounding is not happy, I would say, if it's not that strong, you won't grow too long. You're not gonna go too far. It's very important. Like
If you're in the best, if you're the best student in the classroom for a long time, you gotta change your classroom.
absolutely, it's honest. Yeah, it's a true thing. I mean, I would feel like I'm doing good over here, and then I have to go there time to time so that like there's a side. I mean, it's very normal. I'm a human. At times my ego is also like, oh, Karan, you're doing good, and that's when you're like, no, let's go back. Let's feel like shit. And that is important. And then you just go easy, you just humble down, and you're like, yeah, there's so much to learn, so much to explore.
That's why, like, I'm very passionate about communication.
Yeah.
But I never say I'm an expert communicator.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think there's any expert. There's only an expert of the past, never of the future.
Absolutely.
So I say I'm an expert student, and it's very great that our mindset matches when it comes to the aspect of being a perpetual student. Only then can we grow. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
we never get better.
Yeah, or else you're
stay
just
stagnated.
putting yourself in limitations,
You just stay stagnated.
Absolutely.
Wow. So Taekwondo, Shaolin Temple,
Yeah.
all these things. Now let's speak about movement a little bit. What do you mean by movement? Movement artist. What does that mean?
Okay, so a basic definition of movement is basically moving from point A to point B.
Okay.
That is
That's
movement.
That's
yeah,
physics.
that's physics. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just movement. But then, what I feel is that moving from point A to point B, that journey, it's that journey where what else can you do instead of walking?
Wow.
You can be crawling, you can be running, you can be jumping, you can be doing so many
You can be
things.
jumping like a frog.
You can do a lot of things.
Yeah, you can be
And I personally feel that, like, say something as simple as squat. Like, if you're doing squats, then if you're comfortable with squats, why are you still doing squats? Like, what's the next step? Like, why not stay in squats down for 5 minutes, challenge yourself? Or why not be on a pistol? Or why not duck walk? Like, why are you fixed over there? That is where the whole movement bit comes in. Because I feel, so movement, like we talking right now is movement, right? So I feel movement is the motherboard of everything in the world, and then martial arts is a part of it. So as a kid, I was never taught that.
So you look at movement as an art, as a science.
Movement is like the motherboard, like we are all a part of it.
As human beings, we're designed to move.
Exactly. Now think about it like this, where the movement aspect comes in. Because for me, if I'm training, even though my expertise is martial arts, but then I do not start off with martial arts with my clients. Because if your body is already stiff, how can I make you do martial arts? You will become more stiff, and in the future, it'll be a damage to you, which is something that I do not want.
I see so many people they work out a lot and they're not flexible at all.
Exactly.
They can't touch their arms. To their
what's the
sides.
point of being fit if you cannot touch your toes down? I mean, what's the point?
Wow.
Then why are you being fit?
So their movement curve is they got a lot of muscle, they got a lot of strength, but their movement curve is, you would say, very bad. The movement scale is
not just the movement curve. I would say that they have just limited themselves. They fear. They fear, because I'm coming from that journey. After Taekwondo, I got into bodybuilding and weightlifting, and I became super stiff. It's not like if you do it, you become stiff. It's the lack of working on your flexibility.
The balance.
Exactly. Yeah. The balance that we are talking about. I do not blame any art, because every art, suggests you to do moving and flexibility and strength work and all of it together. But it's just that I didn't work hard on my flexibility, and then I became so stiff, man.
Seriously?
I would never want to go back.
I would not believe that seeing your videos right now.
I had to work my ass off. I still work every day on my flexibility, because I feel more than the aesthetics, yes, I love aesthetics. It looks good.
Correct.
But then, once you change your framework, the frame of mind that, okay, if I can move, I do not need to care about my aesthetics. My aesthetics are going to be a byproduct about it, if I'm doing enough, I do not need to care about my aesthetics at all.
You basically want to make your body an efficient
system. I mean
and once you make it an efficient system, automatically the beauty comes.
Exactly. I mean, it's simple. Think about it. We have a lifestyle. Our lifestyle is actually so bad now. Every weekend you want to go out partying. I don't even understand what are we celebrating, but yeah, we go out partying, and we add so much of bullshit to our system, much of smokes and alcohol and all of that, and that is bullshit that your system is taking. This is the good stuff. This is the good stuff. Think about it, how much your system can absorb, and that is where it's it takes me go crazy. I'm wow, you can keep doing this, because your body is not going to be oh, this is not good for my body. No, this is the best thing.
Body loves to move, huh?
Body loves to move.
Body's designed to move.
It is. That's just it.
It's like a car engine. If you don't use it, it'll just rot and rut.
That's how I felt when I was doing my corporate jobs. I was this is not my scene.
Oh, so you were doing your corporate jobs.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. So you went through the traditional path of going to a corporate job. Tell us about that.
So
let's dig deeper into what.
Right after school, I was working in this company in Bangalore. I started off as an intern, like we all do. I mean, back to basics, and it was a company that did sponsorship management for Cricket Board of India, BCCI.
Okay.
So I was doing sponsorship development for them, where we were getting the sponsors for the cricket matches and advertising on ground, digital advertising, traveling with the players. It was a very pretty job. The job was beautiful. But then I was in, I think that was when I was 19, and I was over there. I worked over there for 1 year. So after 1 year, I had to come back to give my final set of exams, because I was still in college.
Correct.
So I came back, gave my exams, and then there was a long break. So after that, I had to change my job, and I changed my city as well. So I moved to Mumbai, and I was working in Mahindra First Choice, and I was there for 6 months. And after that, again, I came back for my second set of exams, because I was still in the college. And then I started working in a sports education startup over here. So I worked over there for 6 months, and then the thing was it was actually my last job where I realized that, okay, this is not what I'm meant for, because
how old were you?
I was 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would say I appreciate that, because you realized very quick. I know a lot of people who still haven't realized, and they're 55.
Because for me it was very simple. So basically I would often want to take offs for my tournament, since it was a startup, though we were working hard, but then like it's a startup,
Correct.
It's a little slow. It takes time to pick up.
Correct.
So during my tournaments, I would not want to miss my tournaments, and that is something
Martial arts tournaments.
Yeah, and I understand from the friend's point of view as well that like you cannot take offs, and I respect that. But then, like for me,
that was not the lifestyle you wanted. Yeah.
This is something that has been with me ever since second standard.
Yeah.
Like so, I was like, how do I not go for tournaments? Like this is what is this is
I
me.
have to go do my martial
I have to
arts
go.
thing,
I have to go. Like there's no asking or understanding. Like I don't want anyone to feel bad, but like so I was like, okay, this is just not gonna work.
Correct.
I have to go for tournaments, and that is when I left the job. And
what was everybody saying when you left the job?
Oh, people were thinking that I'm so stupid, and they were like, you have changed 3 jobs in a matter of 3 years. Like, what are you doing? And I understand it's very normal for people to think like that, because it's not because we want to stick to one thing.
Correct.
But then the thing is, you're not in a relationship with a job.
Correct.
That is the point where people do not understand. Like you need to communicate with your body that no, I can do more. If you will not explore, how will you know? Maybe the job you've been doing for the past 5 years is still not meant for you.
Correct.
Like, I mean, I want to come back home and sleep peacefully, sleep happy. Like, I want to be like, yes, I've done things today. Instead of like, oh, tomorrow morning I have to reach on time. My boss is going to be angry.
Correct. Especially if we hate it,
exactly.
It sucks, yeah.
And then, like, due to just family limitations and emotional stuff and XYZ, so society, we are like, oh, no, I'm just going to stick to it. Even though the job is trashing you. You do not want that. Like, how are you growing?
Correct.
So I just felt like, it's okay, I'm gonna start again.
Wow. So whatever people said, you just left your job,
yeah,
you didn't know what you were doing, but you just
I just started again. Yeah. And then like I started off, and it was so difficult because you start from scratch. Yeah. It's not like you have a fixed salary,
Yeah.
And like by scratch I mean scratch.
Yeah.
Like just one class in a day, and my rest of the hours is just going like, what am I doing? Like I was like having double thoughts. I was like, let's go back to Mumbai or let's go back to Bangalore, but I was like, no, like let's give this some time. Like everyone was very worried, and I understand, like it's fair enough. I mean, people will be like, my family was like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you changing jobs?
Yeah. You're doing these martial arts things. You had a corporate job.
Exactly. Because we love that whole corporate jobs, big names that we forget about our own identities, And then I was like, no, let's just stick to it. And then I kept beating around it again and again. I was like literally like struggling a lot, and then after like 3 months or 4 months, I think I reached the same amount of the salary that I was getting with working less than half hours.
And enjoying your work.
Exactly. Wow. That's the best part. I mean, I was like,
you did that.
Yeah, 4 months actually.
4 months.
Yeah. I was like, why didn't I do this before? You know
why that happened? I think it's because you were communicating with yourself efficiently.
I think, yeah, that's about it.
Oftentimes we just listen to others.
Exactly. The inner self. Exactly.
Man.
So, like after that I was like, okay, so this is it. Like, if by putting in, earlier, I was putting in 8 hours, like the usual 10 to 6 and all of that. And I was like, now I'm just putting in 4 hours, and this is what this is doing to me.
Putting in 4 hours, you're helping others.
Exactly.
You're having more fun.
And the best part is you're loving what you're doing. What else do you want, So I was like, okay, now no more changes. Let's do this. We are here.
It's going full time.
Exactly. And then all of this was happening, and in the process, Shaolin Temple happened, and I have been like, I changed as a person after that. I think.
How old are you right now?
I turned 25 in December.
You turned 25 in December.
Yeah.
So I would say it's very impressive for someone who's 25 to have like a 4th dan in Taekwondo, be a student at the Shaolin Temple, already become a well-renowned trainer to a lot, and trained very high-profile clients. How do you feel about it? How do you feel when someone looks at you and says El Dragon or Little Dragon? And
to be honest, I am not someone who I am bad with taking praises.
Yeah.
And like, Instagram is a different world, you don't see the face, right? But I just go like, okay, let's talk about something else, like I just don't like to stay in that zone for too long, because there was a part of me which loved that zone at one point.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that was limiting me, because I was not communicating with myself. I was communicating with the praise. You know, it's like, oh wow, you're doing good. Yeah, I know. Thank you so much. You know, and now I'm like, okay, fine. You're doing good. Okay, thank you. So how have you been? I try to run away from that because I don't want to listen to it for too long. Then it just gets into your head,
That's
and I do not want that. Plus, I feel that, like, for people who are not into my field, they think I'm doing good. That's because of the things they are not doing, right? But people who are in my field wouldn't think of me the same way.
Correct.
I wouldn't think of me the same way, because I know people out there, they are doing way crazier things. So
Wow.
yeah,
It's like you
just that.
changed your classroom, right?
I had to.
So you were the best in one classroom, but you said, okay, no, now this is a whole new classroom I'm in, and
Yeah.
you think
It's
I'm really
important.
good, but where I want to be is still unfolding.
I feel the journey is the destination. You know, like that is more important. Like, it's not about, okay, I got this or I got that. Like, you got it, but then what are you doing with it? Like, if you're not using it, then why did you get it in the first place? You know, that's why, like, even now, like, I mean, me, it's not about just being a teacher or a coach or something. Like, I feel the word exploration is something that we lack. Like, why not go and explore? You know, like, I mean, you can still be going on a tumbler and you can be tumbling. Like, we just limit ourselves that, oh no, I'm 25, I'm an adult. No, you're not. Like,
Correct.
the word play should never get out of your life. Like, you need to play. Like, keep playing. I still play with Costco balls. That doesn't make me a kid. I mean, because you can learn so much, you can do so much with the Costco ball.
That reminds me, I think you would love it if you ever go. St. Louis is a city in the US
Alright.
in Missouri.
Okay.
And they have a museum,
Okay.
around 10, 12 storied museum.
Wow.
It's the children's museum, but it's like children's, playground almost inside, but for adults. So they got the slides.
Nice.
They got, the climbers.
I love
they got
setups
everything
like that.
for adults, and a visionary guy built it, and I think you would love it. And
I would love it, because
this
right
museum
now,
reminds me of what you were saying.
like-
why do we limit ourselves because we think we're
Exactly.
adults?
Exactly.
That's what a child does.
Yeah, I mean, last week I was in Indonesia, and I was in a tumbling place. Like, it was like a full tumbling setup, and I was so happy because setups like those aren't really there in our city, sadly, you know.
Because
And
we're adults,
we are adults, yeah. I mean, and I was so happy. Like, I was just jumping and flipping, and I was like, this is it, you know. So I feel we just limit ourselves, and
That's
it's
so true. Like,
so sad.
in public gatherings, like, I have some friends
Yeah.
and they say, hey, I want to talk to that person, or that person looks interesting. I say, go talk. It's
Oh,
like,
no,
they'll feel weird.
exactly.
But if they were a kid,
Yeah.
a kid always goes up and talks
A kid
to
never
anybody
thinks
they want.
twice.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But because we're so we're adults in our head,
Yeah.
that we limit ourselves from exploration.
It's also because as growing, I think your family also plays a major role in that.
Correct.
Because they're like, when you're growing as a kid, they're like, oh, don't do this. This person won't like it.
Correct.
And then, like, as a kid, you've been told that do not do this instead of go do this so many times that you just develop that thing in your head that, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. That person might feel weird. But no, what if you did it? Maybe that person didn't feel weird. And you do not want to give that attempt because some part of you is just like, oh, it might turn badly. But my thing is like, why do you think like that? What if it turned good?
Wow.
Like, that's the whole point.
What's very interesting for me is that since you're so into your field, into movement, into using your body, you're seeing it in every aspect of life. So you're seeing, like, playing with a ball, or being an adult, but still going into those tumbler parks,
Absolutely.
and those jumping jack parks, is because you think that still can be done.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like, think about it like this. Something so simple. You see a kid crawling and, like, quadrupling moves and rolling around. Like, an adult can do the same thing. It's just that we think, oh, my bones will break. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. Your bones aren't designed to break. Like, it's actually exercise. Trust me when I say it. Like, the way babies crawl, if you make an adult crawl like that on the ground, which I make my clients do because I want them to know what it is like to be on the ground,
Wow.
like to touch earth, use your hands. You've always been on your feet. I just make them crawl like that, like with their knees in the air for like a minute, and then they are sweating and they're like, oh, you are so good. No, I'm just making you do what you've already done, what you're missing. You know, I'm not putting something, oh, wow, this is so spicy. No, I'm just reminding you of the things that you've already done and you're missing out in your life.
Wow.
Something so simple, you know. That's where the whole go explode, do the things that you've done before.
It's like back to basics, but we forgot it for so long, it doesn't seem like the basics.
Absolutely. Because like I understand that people want to do cool things, but for those cool things you need a strong foundation. And I'm all about foundation. You need a base, you need a strong foundation. How will you stand up if your legs are weak?
So let's say today, right now, somebody watching this episode is totally unfit. They have a typical job. What are some step-by-step stuff that you would suggest to them to start doing? It's like basic steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least so that they can get a little bit of movement and they can get a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of balance in the body.
Firstly, contact me and join me. I'll help you more. Secondly, I feel something as simple as, okay, so this is what I make my clients do. So the first thing I tell them is, every time I tell you to sit down on the ground, do not use your hands. Every time I tell you to get up from the ground, do not use your hands.
Wow.
Something so simple.
So it's like using your
feet, because your feet are designed to do that. Why do you want to use your hand to sit down? You know, you like put the hands and sit down like an old guy. No, you're 25. Like, why do you want to sit down like that, you know? Something so simple. And then it's like, okay, if you can sit by crossing both your legs, show me another way how you can sit. And that's when people start using their brains. So my classes, it's not that I want to get you physically sore or tired. I want you to use your brain. I want my classes to be exactly like that communication of brain, body, and you know, the movement together. That is what intrigues me. That when you're moving with your brains, you get tired more. It's more taxing because this is active. Or else, you know, you can just go to a gym and they're like, yeah, 50 burpees, 50 squats, and keep going 50, 50, 50. And then your blinders are on, getting back to what we spoke about. You're like, oh, my teacher has told me 50, 50, 50 into 4 sets. But if you can do 50, why are you doing 50? Do something that you cannot do, you know? Like, what's the point of doing the same thing over and over again?
So one thing is, like you just say, basic sitting has to be fine. Going back to basics.
Yeah, like then something as simple as when you get on your bed, the first thing you do is you put both your hands and then you put your legs. Why are you doing that? You can just turn around and then sit on your bum directly and get your legs on top without using your hands. Something so simple, you know? Like, it doesn't even hit our head. And all of this came to me. It wasn't taught to me in China. They do not teach you these things. But it's that self-awareness. That is what I'm digging.
And that's how, like, human beings have probably been doing it, right?
That's how the evolution of humans happened. It was all awareness. But now we are lacking it. I mean, look at...
This is very intriguing. So the fact that you're saying when you sit up, just walk, stand up without your hands. Yeah. So like an old person walks with a walking stick, that's how we are starting to use our hands.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Why else do you think that the lifespan is decreasing of every human being by the day?
Wow. Ankit, remind me after the podcast, I gotta not stand up. Huh?
I'll give you some basic things and you'll understand what I mean to say, you know. So that's just it. I mean, getting back to what we spoke about earlier, like first comes the movement aspect. You need to satisfy me by your movement first, then I will teach you martial arts. Because I don't think our bodies are ready just to do martial arts yet because of our sedentary lifestyle. You know, like sitting in front of a...
So if somebody's using a walking stick, you can't show them how to run. So first you gotta take the walking stick out and show them how to walk.
Yeah, first, as simple as that, you need to take the stick and you need to... So say if they are holding the stick on their right hand, you need to take it and give them on their left hand and be like, now use this inactive hand. And automatically their brain is active, you know, because they're like, oh, I haven't done this in so long.
Amazing.
You know?
Amazing.
And then you limit that and you tell them, now put your hand on the wall and do it. The support is still there. But then mentally you're becoming strong. And then you tell them, go on fingers on the wall. And then one finger. And then you tell them, leave it for 5 seconds and walk. And they're walking. They're happy. You gave them a new life. That's just how simple it is. But then we just limit ourselves.
Amazing.
That's it.
Amazing. Yeah, it's like some people ask me, hey, how do I do public speaking? I say, okay, you know, gather a group of 5 friends that you know in a comfortable place and give them a small talk, 10 minutes.
Why not?
then you go forward, and that's how you can progress. It's pretty much like what you said. Very interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about that first step. Like
Journey
you
of
said about the
1,000
public
miles
speaking
begins with
bit,
the first
just imagine like if you never went over there, if you never started this whole thing that you're doing, which you're doing fantastic job by creating beautiful contents.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't have started it, you wouldn't be here.
Correct.
We wouldn't be here.
Correct.
You know? But that's the whole point. Like how many people are there who are willing to, okay, let's take a step. It's that step. It's okay to fail.
Correct.
What's the harm in it? Like you failed so many times. It's okay. Like being a failure is such a strong thing. Like if you won't fail, how will you move forward?
Correct.
That's the whole point. And yeah, I mean like some contents that you've produced, it's so much about, like do not hesitate. Go over there and just do it. Like take that first step. I remember even your first video, like the full video, when you see it, you're like taking your 2 deep breaths and you're like, yeah, let's do this. That is what I mean, That is what I look for when I'm teaching people. Like if you do not have that, I'm sorry, I will not train you, because it will take me a couple of months or maybe hours or maybe a lifetime to get that thing in you that, okay, let's do it. So, like...
That spirit has to be there. Once that spirit is there, things
unfold. Exactly.
Like you had that spirit in 3-4 months.
Like, I mean,
you were able to bring yourself back up from leaving the corporate job.
Absolutely.
And now you're probably so much more fulfilled and also so much...
I am happy. I mean, think about it like this. How many people you meet. So, why do people ask you what you do? They ask you what you do is just to calculate your amount they want to know. Like they are not like, oh, you work in something like, oh, you're working at your investment banker. They're like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You get what I mean, right?
Correct.
And if you say like, oh, I'm working at McDonald's, they're like, oh, you're working at McDonald's. You know, people are not, they don't ask you, are you happy? They are like, what do you do, so that they can calculate the amount of respect they should give you.
And that is amount of money.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that is so sad.
It's very interesting.
That is so sad. Like, I mean, I do not even want to communicate with you.
Correct.
Most of the time when people ask me, because it takes me some time and patience and to explain people what I do, because I love it so much. And at times, they just feel like, oh, I do not have so much time. That's why I just shorten it and I'm like, yeah, I'm a personal trainer. Correct. And then I'm like, yeah, you got it. Cool. You do not want to like put in that kind of
depth of what exactly.
Not with everyone. You get that vibe from their body language. Like if they're interested, they will be like eyes wide and hands back. Correct. And they want to listen to you. Like that's where the communication bit comes. Like it. Okay, no, I'm not gonna waste my time on you because you're not gonna understand it. I respect you, but okay, no.
What's a big challenge when you're talking to clients, when you're trying to train them? What's a big challenge?
To be honest, I feel people lack the connection with their body in general. Like if I tell them to do something, like without the touch, most of the people now that I'm training, they are understanding how the body moves, but then because of the way the whole gym pattern is working, that okay, this is your workout, now go do it. There's no one to correct you.
There's no conversation.
No, it's more like there's no one to correct you, like I told you, okay, do this, and then you're just doing, but then why are you doing it? Maybe it should not be coming to your thoracic, maybe it should just be coming to your lower back or something, But then like when someone points it out to you, like take a pen and be like, no, this needs to come here, or you need to vacuum your stomach, or you need to push your spine out. That's when people start understanding, oh, this can be done this way as well. So, I feel the first 2-3 hours, so when I start training people, the first 2 hours I take is for assessment, because I want to understand their body and I want them to understand what are their weaknesses, what are the things I'll be working on. So the first week when I train people, it's the most boring week. If I was a client, I would not want to train with me. Trust me when I say it. But then that is the point where you understand, okay, these are the things
basics.
I need. The basics, the fundamentals, the foundations.
Wow.
That is the most important thing. I mean, if your foundation is not nice, you're done. You're a shitty mover. You don't want that.
So number one key is movement.
Move and connect with your body. Like if I'm telling you upper back, you shouldn't be rounding your lower back, because you've never been taught like that.
Where does food come into play with all this? Because you've been in many different disciplines.
Yeah.
Do they have a certain prescription of food? And what about you? How is food related to all this in your mind?
So I feel your body is a temple, to be honest. Like, you need to put the right food in it, and I try hard to put in right. But
What's the right food?
I'm not someone who's like, okay, this is the amount of protein I need to add. This is the amount of carbs. No, I do not ever tell my clients that you have to add only protein or you have to eat carbs. I tell them that I am not dieting or giving you dieting solutions. It's not my expertise, because different body has different capacity and they need different needs.
Correct.
It's as simple as that. So I just tell them, move more. Eat what you have to. It's one life. I do not do that to myself. I've never restricted myself from anything, and I don't think I will do that until, I don't know, like, I feel I'll just move more and move again, so that, like, I do not have to cut down on my food.
Wow.
Because I do not
That's a very
like,
interesting
think about it,
philosophy, yeah.
someone is telling you, okay, you're supposed to have 4 almonds for today, 1 banana, half a glass of milk, 75 ml of this. Like, this is so ridiculous. Like, it's like you've gotten a trigonometry sum. Like, I mean, it is just so not happening, I don't want someone to tell me have 4 almonds. No, I'm gonna have 10 almonds.
Like a movement.
Exactly. So that is where do one thing more so that you can balance out the other. Because as much as diet is important, it is very important. But I feel I think
feel
it's
like
the
nowadays
mindset.
people have taken care of that. People understand a little bit, but more about movement. People don't know.
Yeah,
about
people don't know about
moving.
movement.
That's what's
Like,
lacking in society.
I mean, you cannot just diet and not move. Like, or you cannot just move and not diet. There needs to be a balance. Like, I do not tell my clients to fix their food, because I'm not certified into dieting, and I don't think it's right. Like, with my knowledge, I keep it limited to myself, because I know that is suiting me. It might not suit you, right?
Correct.
I do not want to do that.
That's
So
very
I tell them that you can do whatever you want. I am not the expert in diet, but yeah, I just tell them if they are suffering from something like if they are only putting on fat, I just tell them that, okay, instead of saying these are the things you shouldn't eat, I tell them these are the things you should eat. So, like, either ways, I do not want to make them, I don't want to make them sad. They are working hard.
Yeah, our brain works like that. It's like a child. If you tell them, hey, don't eat ice cream, that's the first thing they'll go to.
Exactly.
But if you tell the child, hey, maybe try almonds, the child might try almonds.
That's the whole point. Like, that's why, like, everything that I do, I relate it back. Like, back to basic.
Back to basics.
Back to basics. That's the whole thing.
Awesome. So we covered Taekwondo, martial arts, food.
Yeah.
Amazing. I want to pick out a word that I heard you say once throughout our conversation. You talked about stillness.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, I'm a big meditator. I really believe in the power of meditation. And you've been to the Shaolin Temple where meditation is also an aspect. So with all the movement, with all the stuff we're talking about, activity, how does stillness come into play?
Think about it like this. Now, all the training that you do, right? Like, my life at Shaolin Temple, the training was on, like, throughout the day. And then to calm that body down, that's when the whole meditation comes in. Like, think about it, like, people, I don't want my clients to feel bad, but for the longest time, I didn't make my clients try or practice stillness, because it is something so close to me. Because I make sure that I'm doing my meditation, if not every day, once in every 2 days, for sure. Because I was not a calm person earlier. It calmed me down. It gave me that thing to, like think, like, use your brains, like, it calmed me as a person. It's not like, because I was always such a, when you're a kind aesthetic person, you're always raging, like, you're
Correct.
always high, and you're like, and at times you do not use that energy in the right way. Like, you just go haywire, like, you take it out on someone which is not even required.
Not channelized.
Exactly. So that is where, like, for me, the meditation bit would come, because I would use meditation as recovery when I was in Shaolin Temple, because you cannot recover when you're training 7 hours. It's physical exhaustion, like, it's physical exhaustion. And I understand how difficult a life of a labor or someone who's working, in mines and all, it is not easy, because that's, again, physical exhaustion. So for me, I would, like, during my lunch break, I would sit, I would meditate for some time after food, and right after meditation, I would sleep. And trust me, it's the most peaceful sleep that you get. Like, it's so good.
Stillness
Yeah.
allows you to do the activity.
Yeah. So, like most recent, I mean, it's probably been a month or maybe like just 3 weeks since I started adding stillness as a practice for my clients because
Wow, that's very powerful.
yeah, because after the class I'm making sure that they do it. But then the thing is like stillness is, what is stillness? It's still, like you do not move, you're in that zone, you're in that moment, and like when I make them stand in the stillness position, like the tai chi pose, and after a minute they're like scratching and like no, what are you doing? Like that is wrong. Do not do that. Like you're losing the connection. Like there's no communication between your inner you and your body. Like that's why like so fidgety, like you're like always like moving, like
That's why we
calm
need fidget
down.
spinner, then we can sell
Exactly.
millions of them. Huh?
Exactly. So you need to calm your system down. Everyone needs to practice stillness. Like
That's so powerful. So you're saying like only if we get good at stillness can we get good at
you
channelizing our movement.
can improve at a lot of things.
Ah,
You become a better listener, which is the most important thing I feel,
Correct.
Like because I feel if you listen to someone for at least 5 minutes, you will know what kind of a person he is.
correct.
It's so simple.
Huh.
And how will you build that if you're not practicing stillness? Because you do not know how to shut up, Like it's so important. So
Wow.
yeah, like that's where the whole stillness game comes in.
Amazing. So Karan, now I want to give you the chance
All right.
to ask a question to me if you have any.
Okay. Let me think about a good one.
Yeah.
So, last I remember, like ever since I've been seeing you in school, you've always been like a very jolly to go person and all of that. And like you were traveling and you did meditation and you were in ashram life as well, right? Like it's very intriguing, and it's like right now when we talk about ashram, I'll again get goosebumps because I understand like the purity and that like you're in that moment.
Correct.
But how from all of that you got into this whole communication thing? Like how did it all start? Like I want to know the birth of it, like because all of a sudden one fine day I saw that Naren Agarwal with the who is Naren, that video was like so pumping, like you're always so high on energy. I love it. Like even over the phone, it's good to talk to people who are high on energy. So how did it all go? Like I told you, I was doing corporate and then I left it.
Correct.
And then I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. So how did it start?
Amazing. Thanks for asking that question. Basically, having traveled to so many countries, talked to so many people, been around the world, when I came back to India after being abroad for 5 years, Australia, Belgium, the US, I came back to India and I saw some people that they were very talented, but the reason they weren't high up in the corporate ladder or the reason they weren't doing well was because they lacked the communication skills.
Fair
And
enough.
it became very apparent to me that communication in itself is a skill, but so many people have other skills which they can't hone upon, can't impress others with them because they lack this one skill of communication. Communication to me is like the grease in life to make the car run smooth. It's like the engine oil
I get what
to
you
make
mean.
the engine of other things run smooth. You have the wheels, you have everything, but if the car doesn't run smoothly with good engine oil, it'll be jerky.
Absolutely.
So same with your talents, with what you want to say, with what you want to serve the world. If you don't have good communication skills, it'll always be jerky. But once you add the tinge of communication, it can make everything smooth. It can make everything frictionless. It can make everything seamless.
Fair enough. Okay, so
That's why I was inspired to start it. And also, I heard people tell me that, hey, you're a great converser.
Yeah.
You can speak well. So I realized that I had picked up a certain quality, and I was always interested in how people speak. So it really merged for me, where I saw there was a need, and I saw something that I was good at, and something I was very passionate about, continue to learning. And that's how it birthed.
So again, I'll ask you one more thing. So after coming back to India, like you said, what was it? Like what was that moment, like we all have that one moment where we know,
Correct.
okay, I'm going to do this.
Correct.
So what was that moment? That is what I'm looking for. Like that some incident
One specific
or...
moment. So to be honest, I can't think about one specific moment, but it was a collection of moments which built up, and one day when I was sitting by myself, it came to me that, oh, you know what, I need to start videos and I need to start giving this, value to people. and the collection of moments were seeing people in different classes, seeing some labor class people, one was doing better than the other, one was managing the other just because they could speak better with the boss and the boss trusted them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Fair enough.
So seeing this in different levels and then reflecting back upon all my trips, I realized this is one skill that is a must for everybody,
Wow.
If you look in the music industry, if you look in the acting industry, there are so many talented actors and musicians who are always stuck in audition. They never make to the next step.
I get
it's
what
because
you
they
mean.
lack communication.
Fair enough.
There are big
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs who have fantastic ideas. They have great product and service.
They do
but
not know how to
can't
sell
convey
it. They can't convey it. Fair enough.
They get stuck. So I started seeing this around the world, and I was like, wow, this is one thing that everybody needs. Like you, there might be some great trainers, but they don't know how to speak. They don't know how to speak to clients, and that's why they can never train.
Totally understand that. So, one more thing. I'm sorry for the long show, but yeah, I want to know this. So, you started off as making the videos, right?
Correct.
That's what you said. You started off like that. But where are you seeing this go?
So,
what are you looking at? I would love to know. Yeah.
Super. So we started off as a video, and we thought we'll put out a couple content in a week, one video a week or something like that. But slowly people started appreciating it and they were learning a lot. I started getting a lot of messages. A lot of people in person started saying it. So it, fueled the fire within me. And since we started, we've been doing more and more videos, more other kinds of content. Now we're doing interviews with people to learn about their life, how it relates to communication, so that we can also show how a communication can happen. At the same time, people can learn from it. Right now, if you ask me for a number or a goal, I don't have any such thing. It's because I'm truly enjoying it.
Absolutely.
And it's
the process. It's the process.
Exactly. So
it's always the process.
Enjoying the journey. There's no number goal or nothing.
Yeah.
But I feel I'm privileged. Even if we have one dedicated viewer, it's worth it for me to put this out.
Absolutely. Wow, I like that. I like that approach, the last bit. I really like that. I can relate to it because we often run behind perfection.
Correct.
And not progress.
Correct.
Good stuff cannot be brilliant if it's completely edited,
Correct.
I feel that there needs to be that, oh shit, I made a mistake over there.
Exactly.
Because that is how humans are, we aren't perfect, we aren't supposed to be perfect, so why are we trying to be perfect,
And that's why I
loved
your response as well. When I said, hey Karan, we want to record a podcast, it's going to be a little bit about your journey, etc. We this is totally unscripted, right?
Absolutely.
We sat down, we just started talking.
Yeah.
And there's a certain beauty, certain charm to that impromptuness.
Because I'm always okay, fine, I like that, I want to go for that, this sounds good, let's go for it, because I tried it again and again and it worked for me, and I'm sure if it has worked for me, it'll work for most of the people.
That's very inspiring, actually.
It's just that we do not want to get out of our zone and be like, okay, let's cross the line. Do it, it's okay if you fail, get back again. What's the big deal? Life is long,
Amazing.
You can keep exploring, keep doing your bit.
What a great conversation with you, Karan. To summarize, I learned a couple of things.
Yeah.
Move. Don't be scared to fail.
Absolutely.
And challenge yourself. Get outside the comfort zone.
Absolutely.
So that you can have a better relationship, better life, and better relationship with your body and mind.
Absolutely.
Much love.
The most important things.
Thanks a lot, Karan, for being on the show. And let's tell our guests something together. Much love, huh? 1, 2, 3.
Much love.
We'll see you soon.
See you in the next video. Fantastic. Loved it, man. That was so good. That was pumping.